Hey, 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 it is an unstoppable day. And welcome to the Unstoppable Story Show with Terrance Leftridge. Yes, indeed. It is your boy, Terrance, the Unstoppable Coach Leftridge, here live and in person on another Tuesday night, welcoming you to a unstoppable broadcast with an unstoppable show and an unstoppable guest. So I thank you. Come on in, swipe and share. Come on in and get ready for another great episode of the Unstoppable Story Show. Hey, it's Tuesday night, and I thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know you could be anywhere else in the entire world. You could be doing anything else, but you are ready to go to the next level of your greatness. You are ready to be empowered. You are ready to be motivated by our guest and by some unstoppable stories. And so we thank you for joining in here. As long as you're coming in, come on in, leave us a comment, let us know who you are, and go ahead and share this out with somebody else who needs to get motivated on a Tuesday night, someone else who needs to be encouraged on a Tuesday night, someone else that may be going through something and not sure of how to get to the next level. Well, trust me, we are not only going to entertain you tonight, but we're going to give you information, give you strategies, and some tips to help you be better off tomorrow than you were today. So come on in to the Unstoppable Stories Show. And you know me, I'm your host, Terrance Leftridge, your life accountability coach with Unstoppable Coaching Services, where we help you create your vision, implement your vision, but more importantly, we hold you accountable to living the life that you were created to live. Not the life that you want to live, not the life that you think you want to live, but the life that you were created to live. Because we believe here at Unstoppable Coaching Services that you are only unstoppable when you are walking in your purpose. You were designed by God for a reason. You were created for a divine purpose. And too many of us come into this world and leave this world without fulfilling that purpose. And so we don't want you to waste another day. We don't want you to waste another minute. We don't want you to waste another second of not walking in your purpose. So we at Unstoppable Coaching Services, we get with you. We get down in the trenches with you. We help you map out a strategy. We help you see what the vision is. We help you go through your life experiences so that you can earmark what that purpose might be for you. Whatever it is you might be passionate about, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, whether or not you got a paycheck, whether or not you got a chance to go to sleep, you enjoy doing it that much. You eat, sleep, and drink it. What is that thing? That thing that you were created to do so that you can make an impact on the world around us. So you always welcome to come visit us at unstoppablecoaching.com, see what we're doing, watch some of the past episodes of the Unstoppable Story Show, see some of my speaking engagements where I've been the MC for the likes of Les Brown and Dr. Ruben West and Shamir Mallard. So go on over to www.unstoppablecoaching.com and get all the information, and see our apparel store too, where you can get the I Am Unstoppable bracelets like what I have on now, the I Am Unstoppable t-shirts and tank tops, so that every time somebody sees you, you're not just telling the world that you are unstoppable, you're telling the world that they can be unstoppable too. So, we just celebrated MLK Day, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. He would have been 89 years old. And I just can't help but wonder, and I reflected all day yesterday of what he would think about our world today if he were here. What would he think about the different crises that we're dealing with, the different circumstances we're dealing with, the different environment that we're dealing with here in not only America, but across the globe? We're dealing with insensitivity. We're dealing with continued racism. We're dealing with class issues. We're dealing with global warming. We're dealing with, seems like, catastrophe after catastrophe after catastrophe in different parts of the world. What would he think about where we are today? And it always reminds me of one of my favorite quotes that he penned when he was on his journey here on earth. And I just wanted to share it with you guys and see if it resonates with you. And it's simple. He says, "The true measure of a man is not where he sits in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of conflict and controversy." Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. And it doesn't just relate to men. I mean, that's probably just the phraseology he was using at the time, but it's men and women. And I submit to you that the true measure of any person, male or female, is not where you sit in times of comfort and convenience. Because when we're comfortable and when things are convenient, we tend to take things for granted. We tend to overlook some things. We tend to live on our laurels. I know I do. And if you're honest with yourself, then you probably are too. As you guys come into the broadcast, come on, swipe and share, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about this statement. If this statement resonates with you, then put a comment down in the feed, and we'll try to get you on before the show is over. But I know whenever I am conflicted, or whether I'm in the midst of my own controversy, I could have that tendency to just ball up in a ball in a corner and just hide away and hope it just goes away and hope the conflicts just pass over me. But more times than not, that's when I learn who I really am. That's when I learn how strong I really am. That's when I learn my resolve, my determination, my tenacity to be more than my controversy, to be more than my conflicts. And that's what gives me the energy to overcome and to, yes, each and every day say, I am unstoppable. Think about it in your own life. Think about those times where you've been conflicted or when you've had controversy. Did you ball up in the corner? Or did you stand up and face the conflict and controversy head on and you found out who you really are? If you haven't done that in a little while, I submit to you to take some time this week and really meditate on this quote and see what the true measure of you may be. Are you just living on your laurels and comfort and convenience? Or are you really taking the time to see how strong you are and to test your tenacity through the conflicts and controversies that you may face on a daily basis? I submit to you that if you take this quote to heart and you really reflect on yourself, then you'll find the days that you are unstoppable are the days that you overcome, not the days when you just sit and relax. Think about that this week. And thanks to Dr. King for all he did. 39 years on this earth, not a whole lot of time, but he made every second count. And we thank him for that. Thank you, Dr. Martin Luther King. So as we move into the show tonight, again, we want you to just come on in, swipe and share, swipe and share. We would love to see your comments. We would love to get some reactions from you as we begin to talk about tonight's show. Tonight, we have another unstoppable woman to talk to us tonight on Unstoppable Stories. She's going to unmute her mic in a couple of minutes and she's going to come in and she's going to bless you with her unstoppable story. This woman is a trailblazer. This woman is an author. This woman is of multiple books, not just one book, multiple books. This woman is a overcomer. This woman has gone from a life of drugs and addictions and mental illnesses into this woman who is truly a super woman. And I'll let her tell you more about that as the show goes along. She is a good friend of mine, even though we have never met in person. But hey, this beautiful thing called social media has allowed that 6 degrees of separation to come down to 3 degrees of separation to 1 degree of separation. And I just call her my sister on the other side of the country. She is a phenomenal woman. She is the one, the only author, Tina Hobson. Tina, are you on the broadcast?
Coach Unstoppable, I am here.
Hey, hey,
Yes,
hey.
I am.
It's an unstoppable day, Tina. How are you?
It's a super unstoppable day. We are, we
This,
are
this,
both here. We're alive. We're kicking. And like you said, it doesn't matter that we're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. We're just one click away. Just one click. Just one click.
and isn't it amazing what technology can do for us these days? How you don't just have to pick up the phone, although that is still my preferred method of communication. But all you have to do is open up a box, this little thing called a laptop, plug in a few cords, and bam, it's like we're sitting in the same room.
There you are.
So Tina, you know what? I always feel like the introduction that I do doesn't really do the author justice. And your story is a fabulous story, and we are definitely going to delve into it tonight. And I want the audience to, as we go through your story, I want them to focus on the thought that it's never too late to be great. But before we jump into that, why don't you take the opportunity to formally introduce yourself the way you do and tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, everybody, my friends, Coach Unstoppable's friends, all of our friends, good evening, good evening, good evening. As Coach said, my name is Tina Hobson. I'm also known as author Tina A. Hobson. I'm also known as I am a superwoman of the award-winning I Am a Superwoman radio network. And as always, as I say on my show, it is more than a pleasure to be here with you today because I know you could be someplace else. You don't have to be here. There's so many other things on the internet to do and off of the internet to do that but you chose to be here with us tonight. So, just a little bit about me. I am an author. I'm a licensed social worker. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a sponsor. I'm an activist. I love people. I love working with people. I officially work in the mental health field with adults who have mental health issues, and it was a God given field for me, and we'll talk about that later. But I enjoy people. As far as the authorship is concerned, the books that I write and the books that I co-author are all about empowerment. It's about exuding inspiration, support, and loving other women. And that is wow, that's a book all by itself because there was a time where like a lot of women say, but I'm not going to speak on them. I have to speak about myself where I would say, well, I don't like women. Well, when it dawned on me that in all actuality, I was saying that I didn't like myself because I am a woman. I was
Right.
then, and so I had to take a real good look at that. And it was true. I didn't like myself. There was very little that I liked about myself. So it was impossible for me to love another woman when I didn't love myself. I didn't even like myself. And those are two different things, like and love. I can love myself and not like myself. Okay. So
And that Very positive. And you know what? I just want to say, I want to shout out to Patrice Jackson, who's listening to us and following us in the comments. Shout out to Patrice. We're talking to author Tina Hobson. She is the author of 6 books on which she has collaborated with 3 of them, and she has penned personally 3 of her own novels, and we'll talk about that as the show goes along. And when we think about that, and what you just said about not liking and loving yourself, but knowing the phenomenal superwoman that you are right now, I want you to take us back to when you first recognized that you didn't love yourself, and then build us up to the point where you did find out you loved yourself. But before you do that, I got to ask you the question that I ask every guest that comes on the Unstoppable Story show.
Okay.
And that's simply, Tina, what does it mean to you to be unstoppable?
You know what, Terrance? It actually ties in to that question, the statement you made about never being too late to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Being unstoppable means to me that no matter what I've gone through, no matter the fact that I didn't like myself, no matter that I didn't do everything right, no matter that I did a lot of things wrong, no matter how old I am or how young I was at that time, never let your age, it's never too late to be great. And it goes for the fact that at the age of 60, 60, I was, it was the time, that was when I wrote my first book, when I collaborated for the first time with Charlotte Howard. And it was the first endeavor that I launched out on starting my podcasting career. And who does that? I do.
Oh,
Because I had, go
we
ahead.
just gonna we gonna stop you. We're gonna pull the train over right
Woo.
there, because we not I don't let things just slide right by, Tina. You know me by now. Y'all need to understand. Y'all need to hear. Y'all need to, those who are watching live or who's gonna be watching the replay, y'all need to hear what this woman just said. This beautiful, gorgeous woman that is on your screen right now. She wrote her first book, number one, first book at the age of 60. But no, that ain't it. That ain't it. That's not the shout. That is not the shout. She wrote her first book at the age of 60. But here's what else she said. She ventured into her podcasting journey after the book. So at the age of 60, this woman, for all those women and all those men who think that life is over at 55 or once you retire, there's nothing else you can do, she flipped the switch and found a new path at the age of 60. Now, if that ain't an unstoppable story, I don't know what is. But see, you got to tell our audience what made you decide to do this at the age of 60, where maybe most of your counterparts, they're planning the end of their life, and you're just planning a whole new beginning. What made you flip the switch and go this route?
I have to admit, Terrance, that it was not all me, because I was a part of that population just counting down the years, counting down 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's retirement time. I'm going to sit on my laurels and I'm not going to do anything else. But God,
Say it.
He gave me the message that I'm going to live a lot longer than I thought I was going to live. I kept saying, well, there's more years behind me than there are in front of me. And he said, who told you that? I'm like, okay. So I stopped saying that. Okay. And he started putting people in my life. I don't know if you remember the late Paulette Stevens. She would do podcasts, no, not podcasts, but she would do YouTube videos, and she was a doctor and she was a pastor, and she would do panel discussions, and I was on several of her panels, and the first one was awesome. It was so awesome. It was oh my God, why is my I'm just drawing a blank. Blessed and
Go.
Bodacious.
Okay.
Blessed and Bodacious. That was the name of our group. Blessed and Bodacious. And we talked about the 7 traits of a blessed and bodacious woman. And
Okay.
when I told my story, Linda Kennard, who was in the process of writing her first book, said, Tina, you need to write. You need to put your story in writing. And of course, I blew her off for a minute. She wouldn't let me blow her off totally. So I started just plain writing.
Mm.
But then Charlotte Howard came along and she said she was doing an anthology that she wanted me to be a part of. And I'm like, you're not talking to me. She said, I know who I'm talking to. Okay. I'm trying to get out of it, you know?
Right.
And,
You're running.
but but lo and behold, the playwriting that I had did with Linda actually was the chapter that was in that first book with Charlotte,
I love it.
Success and Beauty.
I love
It turned out to be a series. So that was God. It wasn't me. And with the radio show, the same thing. I was I was on Rhonda Stacy on Rhonda's Andrews show.
Rhonda
Yes,
Stacey.
as just a
Rhonda
listener.
Stacey
You
Andrews.
know,
Her show was
yeah, I was
Life Radio.
yes, yes. And so I'm following her and I'm following her. And God spoke again. He said, I want you to try this. And I'm like, I don't want to. And he always wins. He always wins. And so she gave me the opportunity to do my first show on her network, on her show, you being one of the many awesome guests that were there. And the rest is history. The rest is
Yeah,
history.
I love it. We are talking to author Tina Hobson, and she's more than just an author. She's a radio host. She's a radio network producer. She is a philanthropist. She is a outspoken person for those mentally challenged with mental illness. She is a number of things, more than we have enough time to say on this show. But the thing that I want you guys to recognize is that the multitude of the things I just said that she is, she recently became after the age of 60. And as you heard her say, she didn't willingly become some of these things. Some of these things, she just had to answer the call of God. And one of the things that you mentioned to me in our conversations, Tina, was that you didn't always listen to that voice, and sometimes it was God that never gave up on you. But now the message that you want to share with the world today is to never give up on God, right?
Never give up on God. And that was the premise, the backdrop of my first standalone book. Oh, how he loves me, reflections of God's love for me and for you. It
I
is my pretty much my biography. It starts out by talking about, well, it's actually my journey from destruction to deliverance. And second thoughts, later thoughts, that could have been the title of the book, but it's okay, just the way it is. And I was always, thank you, Maureen. I always had shortcomings that I had to own. I have to own selfishness, self-centeredness. However, I didn't feel good about myself. I was still, my esteem was low. I wore a lot of masks. That's the bottom line. You know, if I needed to look happy, I could. But when I'm by myself, I was lonely. I was lonely and lonesome because I could be in a crowd of people and still feel alone. I didn't have to be by myself. That was when I felt lonely, but I felt alone in a crowd. I found at an early age that alcohol helped me not feel those things so much until it made me start feeling other things too much. Okay.
So
It took me places.
alcohol became an escape for you, an escape from the loneliness, escape from the that feeling of feeling that you really didn't want to have, right?
Right. Feelings of rejection, feelings of not being good enough, feelings of, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too dark, my hair's not long enough. I always compared myself to other people. Okay. But you can see today I don't compare myself to anybody because,
And I
like you
love
said, there's no telling what color my hair gonna be, how short my
Mhm.
skirt gonna be. It don't matter.
So, but Tina, let's take them back because here on the Unstoppable Story Show, we go back so that people can see how you overcame, so that they know that they
Yeah.
can overcome too. And you're hitting a lot of points right now, and I'm sure you're sitting in someone's proverbial pew, as they say in my
Mm,
church. And shout out to
okay.
Maureen. Three is mine, Bobo. She says, "Amen," and she says she's already feeling it. 25 minutes in, she's asking when's the movie coming out. So
Oh, well, okay.
talking about
Well,
speaking
all
life.
right. I received that. I received that.
So tell
So,
us, at that point where you started replacing your loneliness with the bottle, with the alcohol, how old were you then?
well, it was, it was funny. My aunt that raised me, my aunt and uncle, my great aunt and uncle raised me, and she was a little winemaker. And for some reason, she let me be her little wine taster. So that was old maybe. And I liked it. I liked it because it did something. I didn't know what it did then, but it made me giggle. It made me feel okay. And so I couldn't wait until she would make wine every year. But then when I was 12, she passed away.
Mm.
So now here's another set of feelings that I don't know what to do with. Grief, abandonment. She abandoned me. That was my feeling. You know, I honestly I knew God all my life because I was taught, but then I said, "Well, God, I made a verbal decision. God, since you don't love me anymore, I'm going to handle me by myself. I'm gonna do this thing called me on my own. I'm 12 years old.
Wow.
And
That,
so I go into this journey of boys, more alcohol, because now I can get them to get the alcohol for me. You
yeah.
know, I was on a search and seizure mission. I had to get because it was a big old hole in my soul. I mean, it was bigger than my whole body, and I wanted it filled. I didn't want to feel. I wanted it filled.
Mm. Wow. We are talking to author Tina Hobson. She is the author of the book, Oh, How He Loves Me. And she's reflecting on the loneliness that she encountered as a young child. She just told us about the loss of a relative that meant so much to her and how that left her alone. And she not only felt alone because of that loss, she felt alone because she felt like God wasn't with her either. And now she's telling us about some of the miscues, some of the things that she did because of loneliness and because of that feeling that nobody was with her, including God. Hey, y'all stay with us. It's going to get greater later as she continues to tell the story. Come on in, swipe and share this with somebody else who you may know that's had a similar story of loneliness, as a young child, of loss as a young child, of depression, of mental illness, of addiction. And they're trying to find their way out. Oh, my girl Tina Hobson, she's going to help you before this show is over. So stay tuned and definitely share this with a friend. Have them come on in. Let's just say real quickly, we already shouted out Maureen, Victory's Mine Bobo. Hey, Tiffany Denise Lee, thank you for joining the broadcast. Candy Conda, thank you for joining. And Patrice Jackson, thank you for joining. So, Tina, as we jump back into you, you were at the point now that you were making these bad decisions, and you were hanging out with boys, and now they were helping you to continue to make some of these bad decisions. Pick it up from there.
Okay, well, it didn't get any better for a real long time. The boys turned into men, the alcohol turned into drugs, the drugs turned into me having to do whatever I had to do to get them. Use your wildest imagination. I
Mm.
used to say that I worked night shift. Um, and you can let your imagination run wild. Well, no, it don't really, because I provided a service every night.
Okay.
I was on the nearest street corner doing what I needed to do to get the
Mm.
money to get what I needed to get.
You
There's
were
no shame.
you were a
It's
public
all in the
servant.
book. I was absolutely, absolutely, and I worked the night shift.
Wow.
Okay, somebody had to do it, so it
Okay.
might as well be me.
Right.
But yeah, but it's all in the book. Oh, how he loves me, and things just didn't get any better with that lifestyle. With that lifestyle came a lot of real dangerous behaviors, kidnapping, threats, gunfights, stabbings, just a lot of things that actually I didn't take real seriously then, because when you're in the middle of a pile of mess, you can't smell it.
Mm.
You can't.
Mm.
Okay? You can't smell it until you come out of it and say, "Oh my God, you had to have been there all the time." Because I got myself into these things. You're the only one I could have ever imagined who could have gotten me out. So the message there was never, ever give up on God, because He never gave up on me. No matter what I felt, what I did, how I behaved, the situations I got myself into, oh, He was still there to the bitter end and beyond.
So as you reflect back on that, it's you like to use the phrase, somebody coined it who's smarter than I, that you can't see the picture when you're part of the frame. So you were in the frame at that time and you couldn't really see that God was always there. But now as you reflect back on it, were there signs during that time that let you know that God was still there while you were in your proverbial pile of mess?
Terrence, he had to have been there. There were multiple suicide attempts, even a million more suicidal ideations. There was overdoses. There, like I said, there were kidnappings. I had been kidnapped this one particular time. I had been kidnapped. They were going to um, tie me down with cement bricks and throw me in in the lake, in Lake Erie. I
Ooh.
mean, there was so many look back at moments, and all I could say, it had to be God. It had, it couldn't have been anybody else that got me out of those messes.
Right.
Because knowing what I know today, nobody else has that power. And I never thought about it then. Oh, I always then I gave myself credit for getting out of it. But He still loved me. despite
Mm,
how crazy I thought. Until
mm.
I became so crazy that he said, okay, I'm going to put you where crazy people are. I, I ended up in a mental institution. And this was at the age of 35. I was just about 35 then. And I had went through, having children, being married, going through just so much. I can't tell it all because we don't have that much time. Buy the book. Buy the book.
Right.
It has it all. But
I
I'm going to tell you one thing, Terrence, about social media. It saved my life. It
how,
saved my life.
how
This
so?
was back. This was back in the MySpace and the all those Google, not the Google Hangouts, but the Yahoo chat rooms and stuff. Way back in the day.
Yeah, the
And
AOL
I,
messengers.
yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
okay,
about.
all right. And so I had befriended a lot of friends on social media just as today. Um, People, but this was after my deliverance. Even after deliverance, I had not worked on myself enough, so I was still going through esteem changes, trying to get my self-esteem, well, working on myself. And that's one thing that you have to learn to do, is to start believing in yourself. I still, even though I became clean and sober after being in that mental institution, I still wasn't well. I'll put it that way. I
Okay.
still wasn't well because I still there. God in that mental institution, He told me that He had to mold me, shape me, bend me, make me into the person that He needed me to be. He also told me it wasn't going to happen overnight. That I had to crawl. I had to crawl. I had to learn how to pull up. I had to learn how to walk, and I had to learn how to stand on my own.
I love
So
it.
it
Let
was
me
a
let me let me
process.
let me jump in right there because you said some great things, and I love to just reiterate those things that you said so that our listeners and our viewers can really see and mirror your life in their life, because you went from a point of where you thought God had gave up to you on you into a point of you were just handling it all by yourself, and you were also taking yourself to a point on many different occasions where you tried to take yourself out. But it was only after so many times of trying to take yourself out and not being able to do it that you realized it wasn't up to you in the first place. I said earlier that part of the things that we do at Unstoppable Coaching is that we help you live the life that you were created to live. And sometimes
Yes.
people don't expire, people don't leave this earth until they have completed their assignment. See, when you tried to take your life, he didn't let it happen because you hadn't completed your assignment. When you attempted to commit suicide, he didn't let it happen because you hadn't completed your assignment. When you decided to engage in all the things that you engaged in as a public servant and got to the point where your services were about to be taken away from you, he didn't let that happen because you hadn't completed your assignment. That's a message for somebody right now. You may be going through depression. You may be going through loneliness like Tina was going through in her life. But as long as you begin to focus on what you were created to do and you never give up on him because he never gives up on you, then you're going to get past it. Tina just told you it's not going to be easy. And as she continues to tell you her story, she's going to tell you that it wasn't easy. We're not saying that, but we are saying it is possible if you just follow her first tip, which is to never give up on God, because he he never gives up on you. And here's the second thing. Here's the second thing, Tina, and I'm going to share this. He had to take you from a place that you found on your own, the streets, the public servants, to a place where you had no more control. He had to, you said he talked to you and he was molding you and shaping you and making you. But before he could mold you, shape you, or make you, he had to break you. he had to
Oh
break you,
man.
you know? And you know, in the Bible it talks about that God is the potter and we are the clay. And sometimes we have to realize that we're not always born perfect. And that's by design. We are born in a state of brokenness. We're born in a state of incompleteness, because if we came out as the complete person that God intends us to be, then we would be, like I said earlier in the presentation, we'd be comfortable and it would be convenient, and we wouldn't learn what our true measure was. So just like in your story, Tina, he had to break you and let you know that you weren't complete. But he also let you know, and I'll let you pick up the story from there. He let you know in that place, in that lockdown situation, that he was going to mold you, make you, and reshape you. He gave you a promise right there, right?
Yes, yes.
So
When
tell us about it.
when he sat me down, that was such a blessing. Are you hearing feedback?
I'm not hearing feedback. You're fine.
Okay. He sat me down, he broke me. He sent me to a mental institution, a crazy house. Okay,
Mm.
I gotta keep it real. He sent me to a sanitarium. I had been I was going to this place every day. I can't say I was going to work because it wasn't work. And the owner of the store, he kept trying to convince me that I needed some help. And I kept telling him no, I didn't. He would pray for me every day. And I would pray that he would hurry up and leave so I can go get high. All right. So, but his prayers overruled mine, because as I sat in the lobby of that psych emergency room, he sat there with me. He
Mm.
sat there with me
Mm.
unconditionally. Okay, he was there. And as they admitted me, I thought I was getting help for the addiction. I was getting help it was a holistic thing that was getting ready to happen to me that I didn't have a clue was happening. But it was in that mental institution that he did teach me humility, because I had already humiliated myself. So he said, I don't want to do that to you anymore. I'm going to humble you. So I'm in this room and I'm trying to finally say a prayer. I knew to get on my knees. I knew that a prayer was what I was supposed to do, but I didn't know a prayer anymore. And knowing who God is today, he the words that came out of my mouth was my childhood prayer. Lord, I lay me down to sleep. And I'm looking around this room. I'm wondering who's in there with me, because I thought I was by myself, but I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. But it wasn't a human person in that room with me. It was the Holy Ghost. It was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost in that room with me.
I
And
love it.
I was kind of angry because I wanted to say this prayer that was going to be so impressive. And God said, child, I can't let you even think that you got it going on. No, 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 no. I've got to, I've got to humble you. You have to become childlike all over again. And
I,
like I said, he made me I crawl, pull up, walk, stand on my own, walk. And the thing is, he's still molding me and bending me and shaping me into the person because he's still guiding me to be all that I can be. And that is super unstoppable.
I love it. Hey, you guys, we're talking to author Tina
Woo!
Hobson. She's the author of the book you can see on the screen. Oh, how he loves me, and she's reflecting on what she went through in her past of addictions and loneliness and mental illness, and how God had to get her to a point where she recognized that she could no longer give up on God because he had never given up on her. And we're going to jump into her next 2 points that she wants to share with you in this broadcast. But just want to give some more shout outs. Shout out to Charlotte Howard. Shout out to David Perez and Dorian Branch. Thank you guys for watching. David is in Texas. He's watching, and Dorian is here in Chicago. Victoria Day just joined the broadcast. So thank you guys for joining us. Please come on in and swipe and share. You know there's somebody out there with this who needs to hear this unstoppable story from this phenomenal superwoman, Tina Hobson. It's not too late. Get them in on the broadcast as she shares her next 2 points, and then she's going to talk to us at the end about her upcoming projects. But we want you to understand, we want you to realize that God never gives up on you. And your unstoppable story may not have been written yet because God is still working on you. For some of you, he may have to completely break you down into pieces from that completely imperfect person that he let enter to the earth, knowing that at this point in time, he was going to get back with you and he was going to mold you and he was going to reshape you and he was going to make you into that perfect being that you were created to be. So come on, stay with us. Stay with us. This is a powerful story, and this ain't the end of the story because this phenomenal woman has a whole lot more to tell. So Tina, let's move past. Let's talk about after the mental the breakdown. Let's talk about after being locked up. Let's talk about who you are now that you have learned to believe in yourself.
Wow, Terrance, if that breaking didn't do it, I don't know what would. Because it was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable that even today, I see some of the people that were in that institution with me, and they're still alive, but I don't see where, and it's not my place to see, I guess, where they have thrived as much as God has allowed me to thrive. So I'm grateful. I am so very grateful that today I do have my right mind. I am able to believe in myself. I'm able to accept help from other people. I'm able to recognize when God is giving me the message, when he tells me to move. I am able to accept, I'm able to accept a compliment. That was something I wasn't able to do before. I'm able to accept the truth. I'm able to look at myself in the mirror today and say, hey, you're okay. You are okay. No, you're not perfect. Your life is not perfect. No, you things that need to be done, but you're here and you can do it. You're here and you can do it.
So roll it back a little bit, Tina, because we lost your feed there for a second. You said you were starting to say that you're not perfect, and go back and repeat what you said then, because we really don't want them to miss what you may have. I told you that the devil was going to try to get busy in this broadcast. He was going to try to test us to see how unstoppable we are, and you are right at that point where you're about to show the devil, whatever, devil, come on with your best shot. because you were not
And
perfect.
that's part of
Go ahead.
right, and that's part of believing in myself. I don't believe what the devil tells me about me today. Because
Hello,
he can tell
somebody.
me some woo, he can tell me some crazy stuff. And before I did believe what he was telling me. That's why I did so many of those unnatural, unspeakable things that I did because I was listening to the enemy. Today I'm listening to the life giver, the only giver of life, and that's God. That's Jesus Christ. And the things that he has taught me about believing in myself, and the examples are I'm able to accept constructive criticism. I'm able to accept help when it's given to me. I'm able to look in the mirror and say, you're okay today. In spite of the bills that need to be paid, in spite of, things not going exactly the way you want them to go, you're still okay because because of the God that loves me, it makes me okay. Because when I read his word, he tells me that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. All right? I'm
Mhm.
okay. I am okay because my God doesn't make any mistakes. And if I don't believe in me, how can I expect anybody else to believe in me?
I
That's
love it.
just like if I don't read my books, how can I expect anybody else to buy and read my books?
Okay.
It's
Right.
okay.
So now we're gonna fast forward because I think it's important for people to know from that stint you became clean. And you've been clean for how many years now?
28 years.
Praise God.
28,
28 years.
not unstoppable, but rocky years. There's been some bumps,
Mm-hmm.
relationships and finances. Still, every once in a while, I would get that thought of, you know, I would be
Diane,
better off gone than here. But that those thoughts don't last that long anymore. They don't last that long
why
because
not? What's
God,
replaced it?
I can replace I can replace those thoughts immediately.
Okay. What do you replace those thoughts with when you get that feeling of possibly going back to the past that you lived? What do you replace it with?
I replace it with the joy of having three of the most beautiful great granddaughters in the world.
Yes.
I've got to watch them grow. That's one thing. And even before they were born, there are people in this world that I know that God put me on this earth to be there for. I've got, like you said, I've got an assignment. I've got to come on and talk about Black history every day. I've got to educate my people.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to talk about the power of God. So I've got the Voices of Faith Power Hour. I've got to tell people about people like you. So on Friday, I'm doing, you know, shows with coaches and authors and mentors and just everyday people who can identify with everyday people. I don't have people who have egos and are grandiose and think they're better than anybody else. I want us to be able to relate. I want us to have a relationship.
I
I
hear you.
don't want you to be left thinking that, oh, well, I can't identify with her because she's so better well off than me. I'll never get there. That's not true. If I can come from the streets, if I can come from out of the dope house, if I can come out of the whorehouse and be in my own house, because I'm gonna tell you, where I was not, I didn't have a high school education. I was homeless. I was hairless. That's why I love hair so much because I'm gonna tell you, Terrance, I went into that mental institution wearing my grandmother's wig. So you can
Wow.
imagine
Okay.
so you can imagine what I look like. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I was unapproachable. But today I'm a homeowner. I could buy as much hair as I want to buy.
Okay.
People
And you,
love me because I love myself. And I'm approachable and people know that. People hit me up my messenger. They can email me and I'm going to respond. So today, because I believe in myself, other people can believe in themselves.
and God just placed this in my spirit, and this gonna shout you, so just be prepared.
Woo.
When
Okay.
when you know what, you can be a public servant when you don't think God is with you, but look at the public servant you become because God is with you.
Mm,
You were serving serving the public back in the day, but it was all
yeah.
about you.
Mm.
Fast forward now, 28 years clean, been doing these shows for now the last 5, 6 years, and you are serving the public,
Yeah.
but it's about him.
It's all about him.
It's all about
It's
him.
all about him.
It's all about him.
I would be nothing. I
Mm,
would have nothing without
mm.
him. I
And
wouldn't even be.
yes,
Because the devil tried to kill me. The
yeah,
devil tried to kill me. He tried to take me out.
right.
Oh,
And I tell everybody that the Unstoppable Story Show isn't a religious show. It ain't about religion. But it is about letting people know that you can't get to the places that you want to be by yourself. You've got to
that's
connect with the sources, and you've got to connect with the
that's
ultimate source. And when you connect with the ultimate source, then he's going to connect you with the people that you need to be in relationship to help you fulfill your assignment, to help you walk in your purpose. So it's this ain't religion, this is reality. Tina is telling you the real deal Holyfield about her story of how she had to become broken first before she could
mm,
be put in a place where God could remake her, reshape her, and set her loose to be the public servant that she is today. And we're gonna bring it home because you do this now
woo,
because of all of your relationships. Our
mm.
relationship began on social media. I didn't know Tina from Tanya. I didn't know Tina from Trina. I didn't know Tina from Rhonda. I didn't. As a matter of fact, I have never met Tina or Rhonda in person. And we have known each
Right.
other for over 6 years now.
Yeah.
Glory to God.
Yeah.
See, that just lets you know how powerful this thing is. That lets you know how powerful social media is. And that lets you know how powerful it can be if you use it in the right way. You see, Tina heard me on Rhonda's show. I heard Tina on Rhonda's show. We
Yeah.
developed a relationship. What did that relationship do? Well, that
Mm.
relationship brought me onto Tina's show when she did her show, and it brought Tina onto my radio show, and it brought Tina
Absolutely.
onto this broadcast years later. And guess what? It's bringing Terrance into Tina's circle of influence through Tina's upcoming book.
Yeah.
Ha! Ha! Talk about social
How you
media.
like that?
How you like it? How you talk to me about relationships. So I think
Super unstoppable.
that's a perfect segue to talk about what you have coming up for our audience, Tina.
Okay, before that, Charlotte Howard, I've got to shout her out. I've got to. She is my publisher. She's my publicist. She's my friend. She's my sister in Christ. She has allowed me to be the aunt to her 4 children. She is just spectacular. She's my coach. She's my mentor. she constantly tells me, Tina, you can do it. You can do it. You can do this. Okay. She doesn't accept no for an answer. And that's another thing about social media. Before I even met her face to face, she was relentless in pushing me to where she knew that I could go. All right. Because there's some days I don't feel it, but
Yeah.
God has put a circle of people around me, just like He has allowed me to be a part of a chain around other people to motivate them to be the best that they can be. And that's who Charlotte is to me. And Patrice, if she's still here, she's a podcaster on my network, you know? And I mean, without her, I would not be a network because she was my first podcaster when I became I am a Superwoman Radio Network LLC.
I love it.
So
And so tell them a
it's
little bit about the network.
the network. I am a Superwoman Radio Network. Like I said earlier, it was a God thing. Everything is a God thing. He put it on Rhonda's heart to let me know that I could do this, but he had let me sit long enough to hear how she did it, how to get an idea of what podcasting was all about, how to form relationships with other people. Thank you. Lady Rochelle, how to form relationships with people that I had never met and might not ever meet. Who knows what life is going to bring? We don't know. So, having done that, I she let me use her platform to have my first show, which was December the 27th, 2013. And from there, I have grown and grown and grown. God has has changed my spirit because I used to be afraid to say that. Well, what I used to say is that this is a spiritual show, but it's not a religious show. And
Mm-hmm.
God said, "Oh, you trying to be ashamed of me?"
Right,
Oh, I'm
right.
like, oh, heck no. I got God-like, I got spiritual, I got religion, I got everything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when he gave me my Sunday show, Voices of Faith Power Hour, and then gave me the resources to make it work. I am in partnership with Agara, which is a independent gospel platform that it's a distribution company for independent gospel artists.
Okay.
And so I bring them on my show, giving them the publicity and the shout outs that they need. And our show has just taken off. I've won several awards. I've won a Spreaker Award. I've won an Ursa Award. And I've won two Spin Awards just recently in Atlanta, Georgia. So God is doing it. He's doing it. And it's because I have learned through working with people like you who every time we connect online, you tell me I'm unstoppable. And so by the end of our conversation, I'm telling myself I'm unstoppable. I'm speaking life over myself. I'm not super, but I am the superwoman of radio. Okay,
Okay.
I
Okay.
am. I've got superpowers. Okay, and you better get some too, because if you know like I know, you're going to need those powers. You're going to need that power of prayer. You're going to need that power of intercession. You're going to need that power of knowing how to relate with other people. And that's when God gave me the thoughts for this next book that's coming up. Relationships as they are, or are they? The
Yeah.
truth and nothing but. Because re- most people think of relationships as sexual. That's no, that's the least. That's
Right.
the that's so far at the bottom of the list. It's not even funny. I have to have a relationship with people I see every day. I have to have relationships with people I don't see every day. I have to have relationships with my readers, with my viewers. I have to have relationship with my guests. I have to have relationship with my circle, with you, Charlotte, Patrice, other people. That is a must. I have to have a relationship with myself. Again, that goes back to believing in me and speaking life over me. But that number one relationship, Terrence, is
Mhm.
my relationship with God. If
And
I don't have that relationship, I don't have no relationship at all.
I wholeheartedly agree. They say that the relationship has to be this way before it can go this way. And so again,
Okay?
that's tapping into the source. And I like what you said earlier, author Tina Hobson on Unstoppable Stories with Terrance Leftridge. You talked about the different type of relationships. And we live in this microwave society. We live in this misery love company world that the
Yeah.
only relationships that they focus on are those relationships that end up going negative. Those
Yeah.
negative relationships, because the relationship was only based on sex. The relationship was
Yeah.
only based on money. The relationship was only based on what can you do for me now, or what have you done for me lately. But
Yeah.
when we really break it down, there are so many other relationships that are equally, if not more important than the ones that we see perceived in the media. That's why I did this show. That's why God ordained me to do Unstoppable Stories, because he wanted to put the focus on other relationships. He wanted to put the focus on other people, ordinary people doing great things like yourself, doing unstoppable things like other guests that have been on the show, so that people could see that there was more to this relationship thing than what the media was showing. And
Yeah.
now they're going to also get to hear from a number of people within your circle of influence that are talking about different relationships through this book, right?
Yes. 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 There are six of us all together because I've learned that people don't really like to read. So I make my books short and
Okay.
sweet, all right, and that gives them the opportunity. And all of my books are on Kindle. There's paperback and on audio. So if you want to listen to the book, you can listen to the books, and that's awesome. But I'm most proud of one story, and I'm not going to tell it all, but I've got my 9-year-old niece. She's one of the co-authors.
Wow. That's
Nine
fabulous.
years old. And you got to get this book because she talks about the relationship between a bully and their victim.
Mm, I
At
love to
nine
hear
years
you.
old, she recognized that and she wrote a paper at school. And I got it. And now it's in a book form.
Oh man, that is fabulous. That's wonderful. 9 years old,
Yeah.
and that this really talks about the spectrum of what I said earlier. The life you were created to live. The life you were created to live could begin at 9, or it could begin after 60. 9, like your granddaughter, after
Yeah.
60, like you. And look how God was able to bridge that gap and bring you two together for a completely different relationship, because the relationship started out as family, and now the
Yeah.
relationship has extended into the circle of authors. That
Yes. Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing. So when can they expect this next great novel from you?
Ooh, that's why I've got on my red tonight because that's the color of the book cover, red and black. It will be out on Valentine's Day,
Oh,
February the 14th, 2018.
I love it. I love it. And so you're going to launch it on Valentine's Day. So you're going to be using the love holiday to talk about relationships, to really help people to dig a little bit deeper and look at this relationship thing from a couple of different ways than what we might
Yes.
typically look at it. And
Yes.
I'm so humbled by our relationship, and I'm humbled by the fact that you asked me to be a part of the project in a little way,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. And they got to get the book to find out how I'm part of it. But I just
Okay,
want
I
to
won't
say,
tell nobody.
no telling about. Shh. No,
Okay.
gotta get the book.
You got to get it. You got to get it.
But
In
that just
fact,
go ahead.
Charlotte, if you're still on, if you can shoot Terrance the cover, because she's the publisher, so she's got the cover. If you want
Okay,
to shoot that to him real quick.
I love it.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so we have women of all backgrounds, educational backgrounds, age from 9 years old to me. Okay.
Mm.
So, and those is going to teach people, like we said, the different types of relationships that will, once you get those in place, once you get those vertical um relationships in place, then that horizontal relationship is going to be so much better, so much, and it's probably going to last a whole lot longer.
Well, I can't wait for them to get this book release on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Relationships as they are, or are they? I love that. I love that question. I love how it makes people think. Hopefully, when you
Yeah.
read this book, you'll be able to take a closer look at the relationships that you're involved in currently, whether they are family relationships, whether they're business relationships, whether they are just your friend relationships. Each one of those relationships are key for a reason. Each one of those people were brought into your life to help you for a reason, for a season, and some of them even for a lifetime. But for us to know which one they are and which category those relationships are going to fall into, you got to read the book. So,
And
relationships,
to find out how Coach
yes,
Unstoppable fits in, you got to read the
yes,
book. Okay,
yes.
she just sent you the cover.
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Okay.
We are going to post this on the Unstoppable Stories page on Facebook and as
Okay.
well as on all my social media so that they can get this book when it is launched on Valentine's Day, February
And it,
14th. But
and it's
here's
going to be a virtual launch, so everybody will have access to it. We're going to give away gifts. There's going to be surprises and games and everything. I do. Please, um, like my author Tina Hobson Facebook page. That's where everything is probably going to jump off at. If not, there will be a message there telling you where the launch is going to take place. But it's going to take place on Facebook. We're going to have interviews of the authors beforehand. So hopefully, Terrance, you can get some of the other authors on your show. I
Oh,
would.
that goes without saying. I definitely want to tap into them. Trying to see if I can pull up the book cover before you before we end the broadcast. So you
Okay.
tell the people some of the names of the other authors in the book.
Okay. My publisher, Charlotte Howard, who is the CEO of Heart Centered Women's Publishing Company. She's a coach, she's a mentor, she's the mother of two wonderful boys and two wonderful little girls. Well, girls, they're big, they kind of up and down, but they are all mannerable, they're respectful. She's done a wonderful job as a single mother.
Mm.
Then we have Deanna Moore Taylor. She's been married. She's still in the honeymoon stage. Her and Leonard have been married for going on 2 years now. and she is in social work. She is I believe she has her master's in social work, and she is a go-getter. She's an entrepreneur. She's a friend. She is a wife, a daughter, a sister, and somebody you can depend on. Somebody that you know is going to be there when you need her. That's a wonderful prerequisite for me.
I
And
love
then
it.
we have then we have Sharita Carthon. She is she's the queen of branding. She does branding and PR work for the stars. Her husband Mark is a gospel musician. He just gave a concert at the first ever gospel concert at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in
Wow.
Cleveland.
Okay.
Historical. I mean,
Wow.
the
That's
first
history
and
for real.
only. Okay, Mark Carthon Sr. But Sharita, she's on fire all on her own. And so
Oh,
when you
wow.
think about who you would like to be one of your co-authors, and you watch this person and how she relates with other people around her on social media and off of social media, you know that she's the one. You know that she's the one. And then we have Sonia Davis out of Charleston. She's a author. She is a wine connoisseur, and she's a pastor, and she's a makeup artist. She
Okay.
she's she's she just got it all going on.
I
And
love it.
then we've got Mariah, DJ Arnett. That's my niece. And then you got me.
Okay. Last but not least, we got you.
Yeah.
So listen, you guys, you gotta go over to Tina Hobson's Facebook page, Tina Hobson, or her author Tina Hobson business page on Facebook. You can connect with her, or you can go to iamasuperwoman.com. That's your website.
Yeah.
iamasuperwoman.com. And hey, Charlotte, if you're still there, if you can put the website on in the comments section, that would be great. So,
Well, actually, she's gonna probably put the Heart Centered Women's
okay,
website. That's where
okay,
everything is
because you
going
can
on.
also, that's where we would prefer you to go
Yeah.
to get your copy of not this only this upcoming book, but the other books that you have out there. As we already showed you, she has the book called How He Loves Me. But then she also has this other fabulous book, and this book just drove me. When I saw it, I just lost my mind. It's you guys look at this. DNR. Do not resuscitate. Now, come on, Tina. What are you talking about with this book? What's that book all about, real quickly?
You know what? As the journey was going on, and it still is, but as the process continues, I had to come to the realization that everything's not good for me. I still had traits, and I'm not going to call them qualities because they weren't, but there were things that needed to be killed in my life.
Mm.
And once they were killed, I needed to let them stay dead and not try to resuscitate them again.
Oh yeah.
Like low self-esteem, people's opinions of me, being a people pleaser. I had to learn how to stop staying in my comfort zone. I had to learn to come out. I had to learn how to start coloring outside of the lines. I had to oh my goodness. I had to learn how to speak life into myself. I had to stop allowing other people to tell me who I was and start telling myself who I am or who I'm not. So these are some of the traits, and this is just the number one in a series because the longer I live, the more things I see that need changing.
You know
That
what?
don't need, they need to be killed, they need to die, and not have a resuscitation order. Do not resuscitate. Keep them
And you know
buried.
what? This book, you guys, I love it. I love it because this book is her will. This book is her will for everyone to know that if you see these characteristics ever coming back, do not resuscitate. Because they are not welcome back in this life. You know, doctors will have you fill out the paperwork in the hospital that if for
Yeah.
some reason you go into cardiac arrest, or for some reason if you go into some symptoms that are hazardous to your health, that you have the way to say, do not resuscitate. Don't bring those back to me. Don't bring that loneliness back to me. Don't bring that fearfulness back to me. Don't bring that low self-esteem back to me. Don't bring that lack feeling back to me. Don't bring that ideal of failure back to me. I don't want it. DNR. Do not resuscitate.
Don't bring the past back to me. Don't tell me I remember when. Heck, I remember when I was there. You don't have to remind.
Right.
You don't
Don't
have
want
to
it no
remind
more.
me.
I love it. So you guys, if you want to get this book, if you want to get Oh How He Loves Me, and if you also want to get the upcoming book, Relationships as They Are or Are They, then here you go. Just go to this website. It is heartcenteredwomenpublishing.com. Heartcenteredwomenpublishing.com. Look up Tina Hobson, and all her fabulous books and her other collaborations are also there as well. Heartcenteredwomenpublishing.com. And be looking out for her on February 14th for the new book, Relationships as They Are, or Are They? I love it. So, Tina, we're going to wrap this up because, you know, we both talk. You know, we do this for a living, and we can talk all night long. But we are so grateful to the people who have shown up and shown out with us tonight, like Charlotte Howard, like Angelina Perez, like Lady Rochelle Dotson. Lady Rochelle, she's got Warriors Talk here in the Chicagoland area and on Urban Media Broadcasting all across the world. You can check her. She's another podcaster. We've got Victoria Day, who dropped by and left a comment. What did Victoria say? Victoria said, being about your father's business, Sister Tina. Love your passion. Amen. Amen to that. So we thank all of you for showing up and being a part of the Unstoppable Story Show tonight. But Tina, I want to give you an opportunity to tell them maybe they don't want to wait for the book. Maybe they want to have a closer conversation with you right now. How can they get in contact with you? And then give us a final thought as we close out the show.
Okay, they can inbox me via Facebook Messenger. They can email me at IamASuperwoman2, that's the number 2, at gmail.com. I am on Twitter, I am a superwoman, and I am on Instagram, I am a superwoman. Ashley, well, no, you don't want to hit me up on my YouTube channel, but email, Facebook Messenger, IG, and Twitter. I am available.
I love it. What's your final thought as we close out?
Again, it's never too late to be great. It's never too early to be great. As you saw with the new book, we've got authors 9 years old through senior citizens. All right. So when God tells you to move, don't ask any questions. Just move your feet. Move, because wherever he tells you to go is better than where you're at now. Believe me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Author Tina Hobson. I Am a Superwoman Radio Network. Check her out at IamASuperwoman.com. Go to HeartCenteredWomenPublishing.com to get all of her books, plus the upcoming book on Valentine's Day. And, and,
that I
and I
could.
love you dearly, Tina. Thank you so much for being on the
I
show,
love
okay?
you too, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love it. Tina Hobson, you guys. Well, you know what? That's a wrap. Another fabulous show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your likes. And please take this replay. This replay will be ready to rock and roll in just a couple of seconds, and share it with somebody who you know needs to hear this message. See, here's the one thing I know. It is January 2018, and I know there are some people that came over from 2017 broken. I know there were some people that came over in 2018 and the clocks struck 12 on January 1st, 2018, and they thought just like that everything was going to change. And then the clock struck 12:01, and then it struck 12:02. Then it moved into 10 o'clock a.m. Then it moved into 1 o'clock p.m. And then it moved into dinner time on January 1st. Maybe it's moved into a week, 2 weeks later. And as you sit here on January 16th, you're still broken. Tina told you that's okay, because God is still with you. He was with you all the time. Even when you thought he wasn't there, he was with you. So reach out to him right now in your broken state. Reach out to him and let's have a conversation. God is there. He's ready to talk to you. He's ready to take the broken pieces of your life and he's ready to remake them and reshape them into the perfect person he created you to be. He wants you to believe in yourself. You know, you can't see the picture when you're part of the frame. So maybe you're still stuck in that frame of brokenness and you can't see that other people already believe in you. Take a little bit of my belief until you can grow your own. Here, I'm giving it to you because I believe in you, and I believe in you because you showed up for this. You could have been anywhere, but you needed to hear an unstoppable story. You needed to hear something that was going to allow you to move from your brokenness into that new creation that God is waiting for you to walk into. So I believe in you. I believe that because you listened, because you commented, because you liked, that tomorrow, yeah, may not be that perfect creation, but little by little, those broken pieces of clay are going to come back and form the new masterpiece that is waiting for you to be created. That's my unstoppable thought, y'all. Thank you for joining. And as always, I appreciate you so much for believing in me and believing in the Unstoppable Stories show, where we talk to ordinary people with unstoppable stories. Now, wherever you are in the world today, I don't want you to just have a great week. No, 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 no. I want you, and especially you, to have an unstoppable week. And here's to living your life on the next level. Take care, family. See you next week.